Have you ever wondered what happens when the most basic instincts of nature are rewritten by the language of the heart? This is a story about a sacred covenant forged in the most unlikely of places. Our story begins in the Ngorongoro crater, a vast, ancient caldera in Tanzania. It's a world within a world, a sprawling bowl of life teeming with everything from lush forests and sparkling lakes to open savannas where a primal drama unfolds daily. Here, lions hunt wildebeest, elephants meander along the shorelines, and zebra herds thunder across the plains. It is a place of brutal, beautiful balance, a testament to the raw power of nature. But it is also a land of unyielding laws and harsh realities. Yet, something different was happening on the crater floor. A small troop of gorillas had arrived, a sight almost unheard of in Ngorongoro. They were refugees of a changing world, driven from their forest homes far to the north by the relentless march of climate change and deforestation. Disoriented and vulnerable, they struggled to survive in this foreign land, a place of open skies and unfamiliar predators. Within this lost troop was a baby, a fragile soul born with a profound disadvantage. He was blind. Unlike his siblings, he couldn't see the dappled sunlight through the leaves or the path ahead. He was slow, clumsy, and unable to climb with the agility his kind needed to survive. He was a constant burden in a world where every second counted. The tragic climax of his young life came one day when the troop, sensing danger, had to make a swift and urgent escape across a wide open plain. They moved with desperate speed, but the baby gorilla, stumbling and confused, could not keep up. With heavy hearts and a terrifying sense of urgency, the troop's matriarch made the only choice she felt she had. They left him behind. He was a silent, sightless sacrifice to ensure the survival of the others. The tiny, helpless gorilla was left to tremble in the shadow of a gnarled, dead acacia tree near the edge of a watering hole. He whimpered softly, a small, lost sound that was quickly swallowed by the vast silence of the crater. He had no way of knowing he had been abandoned, left to face a world he could not see, a world that was closing in on him. This is the moment of ultimate vulnerability, a tear in the fabric of the natural order. We feel the weight of his innocence against the unforgiving backdrop of the wild. What happened next was not what anyone would expect from a world so ruled by instinct. This is the part of our story where a king with no kingdom meets a child with no family. Our second protagonist was a figure of quiet grandeur, an old male lion. He was no longer the ruler of a pride, a leader whose roar commanded respect. Years of battles, challenges, and the relentless march of time had seen him deposed. Now he lived a solitary life, a lonely monarch exiled to the fringe of his former kingdom. His once golden mane was now faded, and his body was a tapestry of scars, each one a memory of a past fight. His eyes, though still holding a flicker of the power he once possessed, were also filled with a deep, quiet weariness. One evening, as the sun dipped below the rim of the crater, casting long, purple shadows, the old lion was on his solitary patrol. He was hunting, but with less urgency and more a sense of routine. As he neared the watering hole, he stopped dead in his tracks. A sound, faint and out of place, reached his ears, a soft, choked whimper. It was a sound he knew instinctively was not that of a prey animal, but of a young, terrified creature. He moved with caution, his instincts on high alert, his massive paws making almost no sound on the dry earth. He rounded the dead tree and saw him, the baby gorilla, huddled in a tight ball, his tiny shoulders shaking. He was a picture of absolute helplessness. He was so small, so defenseless. A lion's mind, trained by a lifetime of hunting, should have seen only an easy meal. But as the old lion gazed down, his own weary eyes met the unseeing, milky ones of the baby gorilla. A strange thing happened. The lion did not pounce. He did not growl. Instead, he simply stood there, his predatory instincts silenced by a wave of something else entirely. It was a recognition of shared solitude, a moment where the lines between predator and prey blurred and vanished. The lion, a king without a kingdom, saw a child without a family. And in that moment, he chose to see not a meal, but a soul. Slowly, deliberately, the old lion laid down in the dust next to the trembling gorilla. He let out a soft rumble, a sound that was not a threat, but a promise of presence. He then leaned forward and, with a gentleness that belied his immense power, gave the baby gorilla a soft lick on the forehead. It was a gesture of unexpected compassion, the beginning of a connection that should never have existed. A new, unspoken bond was formed in that quiet dusk. This one small act of kindness was the beginning of an extraordinary journey of parenthood. Love isn't bound by blood, fur, or species. It's a bond woven from trust and protection. Their days together were a beautiful, silent dance. The old lion, who had once been a master hunter, became a gentle provider. He would leave the gorilla hidden in a safe spot before he went off to forage, returning with wild fruits and berries he'd carefully found, things he wouldn't normally touch. He would even lead the little gorilla to water, nudging him gently to drink from the shallow puddles. But his most profound act of care was in teaching the gorilla how to see the world without sight. He would let out low rumbles and soft growls, not as a threat, but as a way to create a sonic map. The vibrations would travel through the ground, helping the blind gorilla learn to navigate its surroundings. He taught him to listen to the wind, to feel the difference between the rustle of leaves and the heavy tread of a hoof. The gorilla, in turn, learned to trust its father implicitly, his small, furry hands reaching out to touch the massive, warm body of the lion. He learned to differentiate the world through texture and feel, using the lion's fur as a guide and his presence as a compass. As the weeks passed, their bond deepened. The old lion would often lie down with the gorilla nestled close against his body, providing a sense of warmth and security the little one had never known. They would share a sleeping spot each night under the vast, star-filled African sky, a testament to their unique and impossible family. The lion taught the baby gorilla to face his fears. He taught him that even though he couldn't see, he was not powerless. And the gorilla, through his unwavering trust, taught the old lion that his purpose was not over, that there was still a reason to fight and to live. But as with all good things in the wild, their peace was a fragile one. Sometimes the truest act of love is the one that costs us everything. Their fragile peace was shattered one cold afternoon. The scent of a helpless, lonely creature was a siren call to a passing pack of hyenas. These scavengers, known for their cunning and ferocity, closed in on the unsuspecting gorilla. The old lion, who had been resting nearby, was on his feet in an instant. A low, guttural growl rumbled in his chest, a sound that was no longer tired, but filled with a renewed, primal rage. He was not a king defending his pride, but a father defending his son. The battle that followed was fierce and desperate. The hyenas, emboldened by their numbers, snarled and snapped, trying to get around the lion to the tiny gorilla huddled behind him. The old lion, his body weary with age, fought with a ferocity that seemed to come from a place deeper than instinct. It came from love. He lunged, swiped, and roared, driving back the pack one by one. The fight was a brutal, heartbreaking testament to his devotion. He was a solitary warrior, a dying king fighting for a life that wasn't even his own. He managed to push them back, but at a terrible cost. The hyenas inflicted mortal wounds, tearing into his legs and flanks. As the last of the hyenas fled, defeated, the lion's mighty body, now drenched in his own blood, wavered. His legs gave out from under him, and he collapsed into the red dust, his breathing coming in ragged, painful gasps. The blind gorilla, who had been listening to the terrifying symphony of the fight, slowly crawled out from his hiding spot. He moved toward the sound of his father's labored breaths, his small hands fumbling in the dirt. He reached the lion and, with trembling fingers, began to touch him. He felt the cold, wet blood, the deep, ragged wounds, and the slowing beat of the great heart. He reached up, his hand finding the lion's majestic, tired face. He gently stroked his mane, a final, silent farewell. The lion, with his last ounce of strength, let out a soft rumble, a sound of peace and completion. He closed his eyes, his last breath a testament to the fact that love is the strongest instinct of all. The sun rose the next day on a scene of loss, but also of hope. A tragedy in the wild can sometimes lead to a new kind of beginning. The dawn broke over the Ngorongoro crater, and with it came a sense of profound stillness. The silence was broken only by the chirping of birds and the gentle lapping of the lake. A young park ranger, a woman named Alara, who worked for the Ngorongoro Conservation Center, was on her morning patrol. She had heard rumors of the strange gorilla in the crater and was searching for signs of a lost troop. Her search led her to the base of the acacia tree. She stopped, her heart sinking at the sight before her. There, lying dead in a pool of blood and dust, was a magnificent old male lion. But what truly stopped her in her tracks was the small figure huddled beside him. It was the baby gorilla, his unseeing eyes wide, his small hands still clutching the lion's mane. The scene was one of heartbreaking devastation and a powerful, unspoken love. Alara knew she had to act. She carefully approached the grieving gorilla, speaking softly to calm him. He was hesitant at first, but something in her voice, a gentle kindness, seemed to reach him. She lifted him into her arms, a tiny, terrified creature still smelling of lion and earth. She took him back to the Animal Rehabilitation Center, a place of safety and healing. At the center, the little gorilla was given a name, Leo, in honor of his protector. He was cared for, treated, and given a chance at a life he would never have had. Though he would never see the sun rise over the crater, he carried the memory of the warmth of his father's body, the feel of his rough fur, and the sound of his protective rumble. The story of the old lion's sacrifice became a legend among the rangers, a powerful testament to the compassion that exists in the heart of even the fiercest creatures. It's a story that reminds us that love can flourish even in the darkest of places. This story is a testament to the power of kindness. If you found this story moving, please consider supporting animal conservation efforts in places like the Ngorongoro crater. If you want to hear more stories of hope and kindness from the animal kingdom, hit that subscribe button and don't miss our next video.
You're safe now, little one.